Hi. So welcome everyone to our course in qualitative research methods. My name is Dr. Yael Ben David and I will be your teacher for this semester. And in this short video, I'm going to share with you some basic definitions of what qualitative research is, and we will do some comparison between quantitative and qualitative research based on the paper by Guba and Lincoln, which you have to read for this class. So let's start with the definition of what is qualitative research. And according to Lincoln and Denzin, qualitative research is a situational activity that provides a vantage point for those who observe the world. Means that qualitative researchers are exploring things in their natural setting, trying to find meaning or interpreting the phenomenon in terms that humans can use. Yeah, and if I try to identify some basic components within this definition of what qualitative research is, it seems that there is a strong emphasis on the situation, that the research depends on time and space, and we are investigating things in their context and not detached from the context. Another component is that qualitative researchers are exploring things in their natural setting. The research is mainly done in the field and not in the lab, as we are used to in quantitative research. Another thing that is important is the goal. And the goal of qualitative research is to find meaning and meaning making. And we will elaborate on this thing when we will be discussing next time research questions and how do we ask questions in qualitative research. And the questions that we ask are questions of meaning. We want to ask why and less questions like how much and to what extent. Another important thing is that qualitative research aims to interpret the phenomena in daily terms. We do not wish to get away from the daily understanding and conceptions of humans in their daily lives, but rather the opposite. We want to stay with the uniqueness of language they use, and we will be discussing throughout the course the importance of language and the use of particular terms when we come to talk about qualitative research. So now I would like to talk a little bit about the differences between qualitative and quantitative research. And I assume that many of you are coming from a background, some kind of background of quantitative research, and you are very much familiar with those concepts. And the real challenge about qualitative research is to do this shift in your mindset and to think a little bit differently about research than the way that you were used to think in your studies in quantitative research methods. So I will start with quantitative, and then I will turn and talk about the qualitative and what are the differences between them, okay? So we will compare those two paradigms on different aspects. So first of all, I want to start and talk about the goal of the research. So quantitative research goal mainly is to universalize. We want to find a universal phenomena that is true to many, many contexts. For example, if I'm researching burnout and let's say I assume that seniority has to do with burnout, I would like to find the same effect of seniority on burnout in different contexts, beyond women and men, beyond different sectors or different organizations. And I would like to understand the universal phenomena of burnout beyond the different context in which it manifests. However, in qualitative research, we think rather the opposite. In qualitative research, context matters. And not only that it matters, it is actually shaping the phenomena itself. And we cannot really understand, if we will take this pizza slice, for example, so we cannot really refer to that same slice the same way in those different contexts. Yeah, one is disgusting and the other is delicious. So the particular context is actually what gives the phenomena its meaning. So qualitative researchers don't try to erase the context, but rather try to understand the phenomena out of its context, within its relation to the particular context it emerged. So following that, if we are to discuss the research procedure, so in quantitative research, we usually isolate variable and conduct our experiment in the lab. And the reason is because this research strives to find a universal phenomena that is true, that is beyond the context. So what we are doing is that we are striping the context. Yeah, we are trying to isolate the phenomena and to find this pure effect. Yeah, and you probably learned about different ways in which quantitative researchers are isolating variables. Yeah, for example, we are putting people into study conditions randomly. Yeah, we're trying to randomize in order to avoid personality or personal individual differences. Or that we are putting different conditions. So we have a condition for women and for men, or condition for high tech and for I don't know, somebody who's working at the NGO. So we will try to do different manipulations in order to avoid what is usually called interfering variables or artifact. Yeah, artifact, when we have an effect that is not coming from our hypothesis, from what we're thinking that is impacting the research. In qualitative research, we are doing quite the opposite, because we believe that we cannot really understand a phenomena out of its context. So what we're doing is that we are going to the field and we try to explore the phenomena in the natural setting as much as we can. Yeah, so usually qualitative research will be field research, where we are going to the organization, for example, and we study things there. And we will be talking about it when we will go to data collection. Another major difference between quantitative and qualitative research is the process of the research and the process of thought. In quantitative research, we are doing a deduction process. We're going from the top to bottom. We are starting from theory. Yeah, we have, and then we are phrasing some kind of a hypothesis, a very particular hypothesis that is based on previous research, on theory. For example, my hypothesis could be that seniority increases or burnout. Yeah, for example. I don't know if it's true, but let's say that this is what I hypothesize. And then I go and I design some kind of a research or an experiment, and I check whether my hypothesis is true or false. Yeah, and then I can confirm whether my hypothesis is correct or incorrect, and in terms of it is incorrect, that I will rephrase it and I will try again. In qualitative research, this course is rather opposite, and the field is leading the investigation. This is what we call induction. We go from bottom to top. Yeah, we start with observing. We start with studying and learning the field. We're coming as open as we can, and we will be talking about it because we do come with research questions, but our research questions are much open. These are open questions that doesn't have a yes or no answer. And these are the questions with which we're coming to the field, we're studying the field, and we're trying to find patterns. Yeah? And only after we are exploring the field, we are starting to make some tentative hypothesis, and we are trying to tie between variables or concepts or phenomena that are found in the field, and hopefully we are eventually getting to theory. So this course of action is for me, it's like a puzzle. It's like building 500 or thousands of pieces of puzzles, and we're just, we don't see the big picture at the beginning. Yeah, we are trying, and the big picture is emerging. And this is what we are going to reveal in our inquiry that we're going to do here in class. Another important thing to note about the differences is that in quantitative research, usually we aim to phrase conclusions in broad terms. Yeah, we are trying to take the human naive language or the way people refer to it and phrase it in broad term, because the purpose and the goal is to generalize and to try to universalize and to say something more broad. So for example, I can talk about burnout, but usually when you go outside to the field and you ask people, tell me your experience at work, and when they refer to burnout, they can talk about multiple things. For example, they can say, you know, I wake up in the morning for work and I'm already tired, or I'm coming and I really watch the clock and I just wait for the moment whether I can go home. So these are all references to burnout. But when we will be coming to write our conclusions, we would talk about broad terms and only in scientific words. However, in qualitative research, we will strive to stay with the common language. We wouldn't want to lose the particular terms and the way people conceive things. Now, naturally, because we are narrowing down as we are progressing in the research, we will lose some of the variety. But we are trying to stay with some of the words and the inner language and the daily language that people are using. And usually we write the research in terms that normal people can understand, not only scientists. Last thing that I want to comment on the differences has to do with the focus of the research. And quantitative research mainly focus on what we call main effect. Yeah, you probably learned in research methods about finding the main effect, and that there is the variance of the effect that we find, and there is a variance that we call error. Yeah, the variance of error in the research. What is the error? It's the unique and particular cases that are not falling into the main effect. However, explaining main effect doesn't explain the whole phenomena. Yeah, for example, the fact that 80% of the individual who show certain symptoms has cancer doesn't necessarily mean that a certain individual presenting the same symptoms has cancer, right? So we are always have unique and unexpected and particular cases that main effect cannot explain. And in these cases, qualitative research comes at hand because it allows to explore and understand those particular effects. And we will see when we will analyze data that we are not neglecting those themes that are unique, those themes who are not salient but rather exceptional. Sometimes the exceptional tells us much more about the phenomena that we want to explore rather than the usual. So if I summarize the differences between qualitative and quantitative research, quantitative research goal is to universalize, while in qualitative research we're trying to understand particular phenomena and a much more complex, and usually the research is about a particular field, and we will be elaborating on that next class. In terms of methodology, quantitative research, we are usually conducting lab experiments, and in these lab experiments we are trying to isolate variables and to catch the pure phenomena that we would like to investigate and understand relationship between variables and ignore all the rest that usually are being called interfering variables. However, in qualitative research, we are exploring phenomena in their natural setting, and we do not try to clean up phenomena, but rather understand it within its complex, multi-variable context. The research process, as we said, is also reversed. In quantitative research, we're going top to bottom, while in quantitative research, the field is actually leading us to the theory and not the other way around. And in terms of research findings, in qualitative research, we conceptualize human experience in scientific terms. We try to go beyond the human experience. And in qualitative research, we are rather interpreting the phenomena using common language that people can understand.